the time of the year. We want to talk about that. I just did a podcast on daylight savings time and how it messes with everybody's brains and bodies and appointment times. It's like, what time zone are you in? What time is it there?
Yeah, and did you go through the daylight change? Oh, you didn't. Okay.
I don't know how people for us in Arizona do it. They're on Mountain Time and then Pacific Time or whatever. But
Crazy.
for me, okay, I'm going to be one of the odd ones. I like the time change because I'm a morning person. So it was getting to the point where it was dark here almost to like 7:30, 7:45 in the morning. So I had to hold off doing my runs or doing whatever. So now I'm a little happier, but I don't like the dark at 4:30.
No.
But
yeah, it actually, I mean, it's amazing how, I mean, the whole reason daylight savings time even occurred was because actually our friend Ben Franklin started this back in the 1770s, some time ago. And the whole idea of it was to conserve energy. Because, you know, people are obviously, if it's dark, you've got lights on, you got heating on, you're doing all that kind of stuff. So it really was to try to conserve energy. And then, of course, for farmers, it makes more sense to have daylight at the end of the day, not at the beginning of the day, right? For harvesting and all that kind of stuff. But really, it does do a heck of a number on your body. Your circadian rhythms in both the fall and the spring when we do this time change. It really messes with us. You know, I know for me, as soon as the time change happened, it started to get darker quicker, you just kind of want to hunker down, put everything it's like, I just want to stop doing what I'm doing and just, you know, where's the cup of tea and the blanket? I just want to get like curled up in front of the fire and call it a day. And it's like 3:30 in the afternoon.
yeah, I think for me though, it's a little different. I think because as I was talking about, I talked about in my intro, I went through some 3 weeks of really hard changes of a head-on accident and losing two very important male figures in my life. And they were at the end of November, beginning of December. So we have the holidays. In between that was Thanksgiving, in between two of it, and then the beginning of December, and then I had the Christmas. So I think, yes, you want to hunker down in this, but also that darkness brings that darkness of feelings sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that hard that here you are in the holiday season, everybody's jolly and happy, or the expectations of the holidays of what you should be doing. And I just want to take a pillow and blanket and pull it over my head, you know? So I think that's also something people have to think about and understand. That is okay. You can take that moment and pull the blanket over your head if you have to, because the more you stifle those feelings down, the worse it's going to be.
Yeah.
For sure.
What's your take on the holidays? Are you a holiday person? Do you like holidays, or are they like, oh, let me just get through it?
No, I always was a holiday person. So because of my divorce, the kids spent part of their holidays with their dad. And I was always the one that I wanted you home for Christmas. So Christmas was always my holiday. And then when I moved out here, I was married at the time, and that was a huge transition for me, like huge, like that was tough, because my dad was in Connecticut and my mom and my stepdad lived down in Florida. So now I wasn't even in Connecticut anymore to be with my children or my father, and my other son is in Vermont, and I wasn't in Florida, and here I am in a bubble. So that was a huge transition. And so there was a lot of traveling in the beginning. And then when I became divorced and now started this relationship, it's not as easy to travel. So my partner and I, him and I have built kind of our own traditions.
Nice.
And that's why I bring this up. Like, it's okay to have the memories, but it's also okay to start some really new ones,
Yeah.
you know? So I also had to learn that I didn't need to have 17 people around me. There didn't have to be 17,000 gifts under the tree. The technology, Tracy, FaceTime and Skype and Zoom, and I could be right there. And I really learned to cherish and treasure the relationships instead of going through all the, oh, this is what you have to do.
Right. Right.
Your expectations. This is how
Yes.
it should be,
Yeah.
or the holidays should be, Thanksgiving should be, and so I will do as they say.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know for you guys, have you like brought in stuff like, this is the way we always did that, and you sit back and say, why? Or do you still keep up with all of those traditions?
I mix
Tracy?
and match. I
Do
mix
you?
and match.
You, okay.
Because there's certain things that we just always do, like, oh my gosh, my kids hate me for this, but I've forced them to go in front of Santa and take a picture. Well, that's great when they're 6, 16. Oh, mom, really? 18? Oh, mom, really? And I'm like, just give me my picture. And I put them all up at Christmas, and that's my tradition. And with COVID, like, it stopped, but I don't know, maybe this year I can get them back. But I like the holidays for, it just has a magical sense. And
Yep.
I love leaning into that. Like, I don't know, the lights and just that anything could happen, the possibilities. And I've learned to really not worry about the expectations, which is
Yes.
something I felt I had to work on. Like, you know, what if someone doesn't like this? What if, you know, whatever you wore to the party wasn't the appropriate thing or not the right thing? And I just had to really stop doing that, because that's something that you youngins listen to us. You don't have to worry about, just be you.
I think you bring up a good point, Tracy. I love the Santa Claus because that is a memory, even though they're rolling their eyes at you right now. My children are older, and I've heard them talk about things that I've made them do, like in a tradition or in a family. And even my oldest son, I see him doing some of the things that I did when they were growing up, and it warms my heart.
Yeah.
And I too, I still like the sparkly lights. I still decorate. I do all that, even though it's just the two of us. But I love that that Santa thing. I'll come back and knock on your door in 15 years. And I bet you they're going to either be talking about it, have that memory, do something with those pictures.
Well, you know where it's from? Because my mom used to do it to me.
Yes.
And I'm like, now, and I look back at those pictures and I love those pictures. So
Yeah.
Funny.
What about you, Tracy?
Oh, I am such a holiday person. I'm like, oh my gosh, bring it on. I start decorating like November 1st. Seriously. I'm like, yeah, I'm that person. Some people are like, oh, get her away from me because it's just too much. So yeah, I love the holidays. I love decorating. We have I've brought traditions from my home to our home now, but I would have to say that I think most of the traditions that we do right now are probably ones that we have just accumulated over the years, right? It's
Mhm.
yeah, because I can remember like when I was growing up, Christmas morning was really hectic, right? Like the one thing was my dad would always we had our Christmas tree in our basement, so my dad would always get up, go down to the basement, turn the Christmas lights on, then we were allowed to go down to the basement. We couldn't do that until the lights were on. So we'd go downstairs and like you'd rip through all of these presents. And we did that because there was all of these other family members that were coming over to our house. So you never really got to enjoy, it was like, okay, what's the next one? What's the next one? Right. And you're just like whipping through all this stuff. And I remember when Megs was really little and Dave's mom was living with us at Christmas time, we would go from to each of the siblings' place. We would change every year, right? So one year it'd be at my place, the next year it'd be at his brother's, the next year it'd be at his sister's, and we would just keep rotating that through. So when his mom passed away, we just said, okay, we're not doing that anymore. We're not going to see anybody on Christmas Day. Christmas Day is for us. And his brother started the tradition whereby everybody would come to see him on Boxing Day. So it was great. We still got all that family time, right? So we did that, and then we got to spend our Christmas exactly the way we wanted to spend our Christmas. So one of the best things I did, my daughter absolutely loves this, is that we implemented a tradition whereby it would take all day to get through the presents. Like you weren't allowed to sit there and just rip through things. So you would get up, you would go through your stocking, and whatever Santa brought you, we would play with, or we would, do or whatever. Then there would be, we'd go out for a walk, or, if there was something to play with, we would play. So for the longest time, we would always make sure we bought a new game, like a board game at Christmas time, so that we could play board games during the day. But literally it was like dinner would happen and there would still be one gift under the tree to open for everybody. So yeah, we implemented that. That was a lot of fun, because it just made the whole day relaxed, and everybody could stay in their pajamas if they wanted, or they could do whatever they wanted, so.
I love that. I when I moved out here, I had this huge Christmas village, and I actually left it and I split it between my two boys. And so each year so I've been here 12 years, so they got 12 more pieces to it. And at this point, they had really set their lives. I have one in Vermont and my other son in Connecticut. So I would always buy a piece that correlated to whatever was going on within their lives, And last year, they show me, when it's all set up, I get on the Zoom, and it's pretty expansive. And I said to them, okay, that's over. And they're like, what? I'm like, that's over. Like, I don't know how many more pieces I can get you and where you're going to put them. So last year I started the tradition of finding them or their family or individual, depends on what I find, Christmas ornaments. And I make sure the year is on it. So I love that form of memory. Like, I think because I lost my dad and my stepdad so fast, that I want to make sure that there's memories, like there's little pieces, that we have. And I love it. I love yours, Tracy, where you just, throughout the day, I'm like, oh yeah. And you, Tracy, with a Santa picture. And, I just think that traditions and memories are wonderful, but I don't think we should be held to traditions.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. And we've been talking about all the wonderful things too about our Christmases, but it can also be an incredibly stressful time, right?
It can be.
I mean, the expectations that it's the expectations we put on ourselves to create the perfect moment, the perfect day, the perfect present, the perfect everything, is unrealistic, right? I mean, it's like if we could tell our young people anything, it would be to drop that expectation. It's supposed to be just a good day, right? And if you have, if you're religious, then there's that religious component to it. And it really is supposed to be about doing something for somebody else.
It is.
We get lost. Sometimes we get lost in all of the hustle, the bustle, and the decorations and all of that. And we put unrealistic expectations on ourselves. And I mean, I have people in my life that dread Christmas. They're like, oh, I just wish it would be over with.
Well, I think also because it starts so early too. It isn't a day or a couple of days or a week or whatever. It's started. It's just this continuous buildup and overwhelm that I feel it's put on you.
I just think it's the overstimulation of it. It's
Yeah.
the overstimulation. And I love seeing the lights now. My house isn't decorated yet. I think he would like have a fit if I walked out and just decorated everything right now. It will be the day after Thanksgiving, but I think it's that overstimulation. I mean, and I think for the parents and with the children, and you're caught in the middle of the stimulation, and I want this, and Peter got this, and Sam got that, and look at what that one has. And I think we get so caught up in the overstimulation, and this is the way it's supposed to be. And that's not it. That's our limiting beliefs a little bit. That's
Yeah.
when you open up a book, that's what it is. You don't know, that's a picture. You don't know the story behind that picture of that
Exactly.
family. You know
Exactly.
nothing behind that. And
Yeah.
I think we get caught in that. And I think when you take that step back, take a breath, and even if you have to sit down and write out what's important to you for the holiday, that's a really good exercise for yourself, for your family, even your children. Like, what is important for you for the holiday? Because I will tell you, I would give everything away to have a holiday with my family again, with my parents, to have one last holiday with my dad. I would give away my tree, my gifts, my whatever. I would give it all away because that would be what's important. And I think when people take a step back, and if you write out what is really important to you in that holiday season, that's what people need to start focusing on.
Yeah. And actually also to ask, how do you want your day to go? How do you want that Christmas? What would you, if you could write it any way you wanted, what would it look like? And then why can't you create that? Why does it have to be something different, right? And then of course, it gets into the whole people pleasing. Well, I have to go over here and I have to do this and I have to do that. Well, what if you just decided you didn't have to do that?
Yeah.
You'll still get to see everybody over the holiday season. You'll make sure that, those days are people are seen and heard and loved and all of those things. But what if you just decided you wanted your Christmas day to be whatever it is that you wanted it to be?
Or your Thanksgiving or your New Year's or whatever day it was,
You guys
whatever
in the US have got like major pressure. You've got like your Thanksgiving. It's like not even Thanksgiving. Then there's like, I don't know, Macy Day parades and all of that stuff. Then it's right into Christmas. Like you guys don't even get a breather. We at least get a breather here in Canada. Thanksgiving's in October. We get to
October.
kind of come down from the turkey high and then, wait a few months before we have the next one. But it's like,
it's usually 4 to 5 weeks, depending on how because it's always Thanksgiving here is always the last Thursday in November. So it depends on how it falls. And then Christmas is the 25th. So you're right. It does. And I'll be honest with you. I even contacted my family last month and I said, okay, this is where I am budgeting my funds. I know what I want to give you guys, but if there's something special that you really are inking for, you could give me that list. And, it's expectations. It's just expectations, it's how you, Tracy, like you said, how do you want the day to be?
But that's also the art of learning how to say no. And again, it took me years and years and years to understand that saying no doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be mean. It doesn't have to be something negative. Do you really want me there if I'm not even engaged or I'm thinking about a million other things that I have to get done or that I feel I need to get done? Or can we just say, no, this isn't going to work, but let's make something that will work. And not everyone, a lot of people feel no is a bad thing, and no sets boundaries.
Sometimes it should
clarify what's important to you.
Yes. I know. I think that's so important. And sometimes you don't have to change everything all at once. It could be just one small thing that you start to change that can help you reclaim the life that you want. One small no, like or boundary or something. It doesn't need to be a drastic, like, I'm rehauling all of the holidays and this isn't what I'm going to do. I'm just not. No, that brings up too much drama, too much negative energy, too much of everything. But if you just take that one small step, then you start to feel empowered.
Yeah, awesome. What would
Yeah.
be one fun bit of advice that you would tell somebody about Christmas dinner?
Christmas dinner. My one advice would be, make it simple. Make it simple and get help.
Mm. Mine would be brine the turkey. It's worth it.
I'm doing that for Thanksgiving. I will. Well, I'm not. Pete is, so I'll let you know.
It makes such a difference to the moisture of that turkey. I got to tell you, brine your turkey.
That's totally true. And mine would be do what I've done every year. Let my husband cook it.
Brilliant. I love it. I love it.
I'm not.
I like that one too.
You don't want me cooking your turkey dinner. No.
Okay.
Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you as a regular member of our community.